Good morning and welcome to the 15th Virtual Transform Westside Summit. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's me again, English Avenue resident, Ebony Ford. This morning we will be focusing on the Quest Impact Center. It is a huge project going on the corner of Laurie and Boone. You may have seen it by now, and it's huge, so I'm sure most of you have seen it. And you'll be hearing some very, very awesome stories about how Quest has impacted Westside residents. And actually, I have my own personal story as far as what Quest has done for me in my life. If I can get a little personal here, I was going through a divorce about 3.5, 4 years ago. I was a stay-at-home mom, and so my resume needed to be reinvigorated, and I had to get back out there in the world and start working to take care of my 5-year-old son and myself. I went to Westside Works, which is again on that corner of Laurie and Boone, and it's built by Quest. So many of you may not have known that Westside Works, that building was built by Quest. And I applied for an IT program. I got into the program, and as some of you may know, I am now working for the state of Georgia as an IT analyst. So Quest has impacted my life very positively in the last few years, and you're going to hear some other awesome stories as far as what Quest, again, has done for lots and lots of Westside residents. And so just sit back, relax. We got a great program for you today. And with that being said, I'd like to give you John Ahmann. Hey, John.
All right, good morning, and Ebony.
Good morning.
Hey, thank you for doing this show for us again.
Absolutely. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you guys for giving me the platform.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing a little bit about your story.
Yes. Yeah. Quest, Westside Works, just awesome. Living on the West Side literally has catapulted my life.
And so it's pretty close to you, and we're gonna
Yes,
cut live to it in just a moment. But
okay.
The Quest Impact Center is like right around the corner from you in English Avenue.
Yes, it is.
So a lot of your folks that live in English Avenue be able to walk right to it or Vine City where I live.
Absolutely.
And also, and I really appreciate you being here, because actually I know you mentioned earlier, you're a mother, but how old's your son?
He's 5.
He's 5?
Somewhere over there, yeah.
And he's with us this morning, so thank you.
He is actually here. We're trying to keep him quiet.
You couldn't leave him quite unsupervised yet, right? 5 years old?
Nope, too young, too young.
And I got excited because I also know, tell folks where he's attending virtual school right now.
Yes, my son Jeremiah, he's 5, in kindergarten at Hollis Innovation Academy, which is a school that's in Vine City. And where Dr. Diamond Ford is the principal. Right. She is awesome. And yeah, I have been nominated quite recently, if I can share that, to be secretary. Thank you, for the Go Team at Hollis. So I'm very excited about that. For folks that don't know, what's a Go Team? It is like the parents community that's focused on helping Hollis and catapulting Hollis in the neighborhood, and just really serving the children and the families of, again, the West Side. It's like the governance board, right? Yes, it is, like governance,
so yes. You're the secretary.
And I'm the secretary.
And you met, I think, one of my...
Yes, Beverly Tatum.
Dr. Bell, right?
Yes, and she actually nominated me, yes, for the secretary position. And as Dr. Ford said on the Zoom call that day, you cannot turn down Miss Beverly Tatum. So I did not, and so now I'm secretary for the Go Team at Hollis.
No, we love our Booker T. Washington cluster principals, and we've had
absolutely
Dr. Ford on the show a few different times. Mm-hmm. And she does a great job. And I know, as you and I were, here talking before the show, that unfortunately, you were a little late here this morning because, you had a lot of police cars, you said.
Yes. When I get on 20, I think it's by the Greyhound, by the bus station. I get on 20 to come out here to the studio, and I don't know what was going on.
Oh, you know, I actually think that is Georgia in the center of the political universe. It's the vote count. I think that's what it was.
Yes, maybe that's what it was. Yes, yes. So
but then you also said you had a lot of officers in front of on your street the other night too, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, so there's lots of things going on. I think COVID numbers are up.
Right.
Crime rates are up. It's just, a lot of fallout we're dealing with.
And that's one thing, because you and I are practicing social distancing here.
Absolutely.
And we still appreciate we're still in a time, obviously, of a pandemic. Unfortunately, when you look at the data, they think the virus is going to be kind of worse in the winter because people are inside, and we know that unemployment has disproportionately hit the West Side.
Yes, it has.
We know that unfortunately Congress hasn't re-upped on an unemployment compensation package, so a lot of folks are running out of money, a lot of stress. We know domestic violence is up, something that Chris 180 can probably talk about with Cindy Simpson, and so and we want to put up, but a lot of great work. There's one number. A lot of the different support not-for-profits have come together to do one number, Westside Connect, and I really want to put that number up there. So you're out there watching and living on the West Side, and you need any kind of help, if you need any kind of food, shelter, if you have stress issues, if you think you need COVID testing, but one number to call, which is 404-430-8180. So that Westside Connect has done a great job. Lots of different not-for-profits and government agencies collaborating together to make it kind of real easy to get what you need.
Absolutely.
So, please call that number. And now I want to talk a little bit about the Westside Future Fund for those that are watching for the first time. And if you haven't already, if you're watching our show, would encourage you to get our bulletin. And so our bulletin has all the information in the show about our panelists. We'll be talking about their bios, as well as information about the Westside Future Fund. And the slides you just saw a minute ago, that's in our bulletin. So for those that are watching our show for the first time, the Westside Future Fund is a not-for-profit. And we're a place-based not-for-profit. And you just saw, I think we had you could put up again our vision, mission, and values. I saw that slide up there for a second. But we have as our vision a community Dr. King we're proud to call home, reflecting, Dr. King and his wife Creda, their last adult home was in Vine City. And we're governed by a great board of directors, and we could put up the slide with the board of directors from the Westside Future Fund. It's a volunteer board of directors, and Ebony mentioned Dr. Beverly Tatum, the former president of Spelman College, but she's currently our board chair. And we've got a great diverse board, and I can testify to their engagement. One of the real special things, Dr. Beverly Tatum and Sylvia Russell have served on the GO teams at Hollis Innovation Academy and been a big part of the cluster work with the Booker T. Washington High School cluster. And so in our last slide is, I always like to remind folks who the team is of the Westside Future Fund. And got a great team behind me doing a lot of the work. We can show the Westside Future Fund team slide. All right, dedicated team. So thank you, Westside Future Fund team. And we also want to mention, even though we're practicing social distancing, we're really missing bringing people together. But we want to, encouraging people to get connected who are watching this broadcast. And we think there's a lot of great information coming on this broadcast. So I encourage you to kind of tweet out through these social media handles, folks to come watch our broadcast. And so they're all our social media handles. And someone who's much more gifted than I am at doing this kind of thing, we're gonna toss to our own West Side correspondent, Benjamin Early. Hopefully, we'll toss to Benjamin now. See if he's out there. There he is. Holy man! I always love this, Benjamin.
Wow. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's it going?
It's going great, man. Where are you?
So I'm excited to be standing right now at the 2 weeks away from being completed Quest Impact Center.
So you're actually at the Impact Center right now?
I'm at the Impact Center, yes.
And so that's the new building?
To my left.
Right. So
it is. Like I said.
Yeah. So what street is right immediately to your right? Which street is that?
So to my right, we got Joseph V. Lowry. Yeah. And the building is actually just before the corner of Lowry and Joseph V. Boone. So anybody that's been driving down Lowry, that's been seeing construction going up and down, most of that is happening here at the Quest Impact Center. I'm super excited about the work that's going on here. But to get back to your earlier point, yes, we want everybody to get engaged with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Also follow our YouTube channel for regular updates. And, we're looking forward to hearing your stories and communicating with you on the regular. Get in touch.
Yeah, and we're looking right now, and folks haven't seen it, the quality of the building actually, David Moody's company did the pro bono construction management, but it's looking great. Can you give us a wider shot? Can we look at the building, or is that?
Absolutely. Actually, let me take you on a little ride here, John.
Yeah.
I'm actually flip my camera around so that you can see a little bit better. So right now where I'm walking into is what will soon to be the offices for Chris 180's Westside Empowerment Center.
We're going to hear from Chris 180 this morning. Yeah, awesome.
Right, we'll hear more about that this morning. But if you just check the color palette, man. Just look at all of the good paint jobs and the patterns on the walls.
It's really bright.
Now, I got a chance to walk through here. Yeah, you'll hear from Leonard Adams a little bit later this morning, but I got a chance to walk through here with Leonard yesterday, and he was pointing out where you see the blue tape lines on the ground. That's going to be actually the glass partitions for each office, so it'll be really modern, really sleek. And up under this sort of cardboard-looking cover here, you actually have really nice carpet that's already laid down. They just had to cover it up
and I know,
for the sake of finishing the rest of the building.
Looking at your window there, I think that's a new multifamily that Quest is also developing. You know.
Absolutely. So if I walk here back to
that's going to have a lot of deep affordability for residents on the west side. We'll ask Leonard about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's coming along too. All right.
And they'll be able to take advantage of the many community services that are offered right here at the Quest Impact Center. And all they have to do is walk directly across the parking lot to take advantage of them. So it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to the building finally opening up and, you know, seeing all the good that it's going to continue to do for the community.
And for folks that aren't from the west side, you know, in the beginning, you know, Ebony mentioned how she, leveraged Westside Works.
Yes, I did.
And Westside Works is two buildings that Quest developed with a lot of support from the Arthur and Blank Family Foundation that are immediately, you know, just to the south of the new Quest Impact Center.
Yes.
So now, right, if you'd gone there now, you'd be able to walk right over the Quest Impact Center coming out of your class at Westside Works. That's pretty exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting. I haven't seen it in a few weeks, so to see it, you know, getting close to completion looks awesome. All
right, well, we're going to hear more from our panels, you know, this morning about it, but I always want to take this time to kind of remind folks, we're very fortunate. One of the big corporate sponsors of the work on the West Side is the Home Depot Corporation and the Home Depot Foundation. And we're going to, you know, remind folks that we have a Home Depot gift card giveaway. And so if you pre-registered for the summit, you still have a chance to do that. You can go to the website of the Westside Future Fund, westsidefuturefund.org, and you can register right now. And then a name will be randomly picked from those that are pre-registered. And when we pick the name, you'll get a Home Depot gift card to go to a Home Depot store. So thank you, Home Depot, for your continued support. And please, if you haven't already, register for that. And we're going to call out that name right at toward the end of the broadcast. So thanks very much. And you know, for those that are watching us for the first time, you know, we do the Transform Westside Summit the first and third Friday of each month, and we would typically, before COVID hit, host them out of the gathering spot on the West Side. Yes. And as you know, part of the program, we would always start with a devotion. Yes. And we love to ask people from the community to kind of do the devotion. And we always ask, just as a grounding, you know, to draw from the lesson of Nehemiah. And for those that aren't familiar with Nehemiah, it's in the story in the Old Testament that Nehemiah was the cupbearer to the king, and we felt called back to Jerusalem, where the residents were suffering and being, you know, preyed upon. And he went back, and one of the first things he did was to build a wall. And there's a lot more to it than that. But just, and for me, you know, studying the story of Nehemiah and his leadership, it's really, for me, about how you come around a common set of values to rebuild a community. Absolutely. And so we always, you know, draw some inspiration from that. And we love to have, you know, devotion speakers from the community. And we're delighted this morning that Regina Grant, who works at the On the Rise Financial Center, is going to be our devotion speaker. And, you know, I've gotten to know Regina personally, and she really has a heart for helping people. And she comes to that from a place of, you know, from deep empathy. So when I called Regina earlier this week to ask her to do the devotion, and she's doing it live this morning, we're going to cut to her in just a minute. But as part of the grounding for the devotion, you know, there's a statement that I always read to kind of set the stage for it. So I'm going to read that statement now. It's become our tradition to begin our meetings with a positive, inspirational message from a member of our community. Recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the Westside Revitalization effort, the time at the beginning of our meeting is an opportunity to share various inspirational reflections. While the speakers may articulate their personal faith, it's meant to be inclusive, inspiring, and meaningful, with the story of Nehemiah as our guide. And so as I said, we're gonna cut now to a live devotion. She's gonna come in via Zoom, Regina, to lead us in our devotion this morning, and then we'll come back to Ebony and I. And thank you so much, Regina, for leading us through our devotion this morning.
Thank you. Well, good morning, John and fellow colleagues and attendees for this summit. And thank you, John and Westside Future Fund team for giving me this opportunity to bring devotions to you this morning. It is truly an honor and privilege to be asked to participate in this summit in this way. I want to first start out by saying I bring you greetings from the On the Rise Financial Center located in the heart of Vine City and English Avenue. We actually sit in between the split of those two, where we previously sat in the split of those two neighborhoods. But of course, you'll hear a little bit more about what is to come for our new office and location at the Quest Impact Center. I sat here and watched Ebony introduce, Ebony and John introduce Benjamin, give us that beautiful tour of that center, and almost got teary-eyed because I remember from whence we all came. But I also want to give thanks and shout outs to the stakeholders who have, other stakeholders who have been part of this process. And the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation as one, the Equifax Corporation, City of Atlanta, Invest Atlanta, and many, many more. But last but not least, as far as a stakeholder is concerned, would be the residents of the Westside community. I liken to think that you all, without you all, this whole project would not have been possible. I've been working in community development, doing community development work for a very, very long time. And I know that in order to be invited, accepted, or even considered to come into a community, the front yard, backyard, side door, any part of a community such as Westside, the Westside, you have to have permission from those residents to come in and do any type of mass development and projects. So the first stakeholder that I want to give recognition to would be the residents of the Westside community. Thank you for allowing all of the progress and transformation that you are realizing in your community started with you, and only you were able to make these things possible initially. The other point I want to bring to bear is John always have encouraged us to build from the story of Nehemiah. And so he's talked about it enough where I too wanted to do some research and find out exactly what the story meant, what happened, and what I have learned by studying the book of Nehemiah is that he really had he was challenged with a lot of responsibilities that most of us probably would have snubbed our noses at. Who in their right mind would want to be a cupbearer? And John did a good job of explaining what that means. The cupbearer, the food tester, he had to be the king's basically guinea pig to go before the king and make sure the crooked ways were made straight, to taste the wine, to make sure that it was of fine wine and it was not of foreign and poisoning substance. So that meant to me, Nehemiah made a huge sacrifice and was willing to lay his life before the king so that the king would not suffer. He was willing to lay down his life for his king. And when I hear that story, I'm reminded of the plight that the residents on the West Side has done. I have worked hand in hand, side by side with many West Side residents, many West Side advocates who have actually laid down their lives, who have stood up and championed for change in this community. So I'm learning that not only has Nehemiah, should Nehemiah be credited for being basically an armor bearer for the cause, I like to think that the residents of that community, the stakeholders of that community, all of us are actually, John, I'm going to change your name to be Nehemiah, because I see the work, the heart, the spirit that you and other stakeholders such as yourself have committed to this community. And this is what brings me to my why. I too, Ebony, am a product of the Westside community. I actually lived in a house that was located on the corner of Joseph E. Lowry and Joseph E. Boone. Back in that time, it was called Simpson and Ashby. And I am going to have the privilege of working in a facility directly across the street from that house. Now, this house was owned by one of the club owners and strip mall owners. The lot where the club and the strip mall was located is now vacant and is adjacent immediately across the street from the Quest Impact Center. The house that I lived in was next door to the strip mall. And the house was less than desirable. It was not a whole lot of policies and enforcement going on to circumvent the slumlord practices, and so the house was not very well kept. But now I get a chance to see all of the development that is going on. The house is no longer there. The strip mall, of course, is no longer there. I could just almost burst into tears just thinking about being able to sit in that new development. And if I walk to the front of where our office is going to be, I will always be looking west of where that house was in the face of that property, and reminiscing about what was and what is today. I also want to go back in time a little bit further and share with some of you who may not know about the development that started back in the late 60s, early 70s by our late great Mayor Maynard Jackson. I remember as a small child, my parents used to take us sometimes downtown Atlanta. That was a major trip for a kid like me in what used to be actually rural Georgia, from Austell, Georgia. We would, I remember driving down, I guess it would have been on one side, what was it's now I'm sorry, Abernathy. I think back in that time, it may have been Hunter Street or something like that, but we would make the round down Hunter Street up to Northside Drive, turn left, and come back up what is now MLK. And I remember seeing properties. These were multifamily homes that were built on stilts. And I remember seeing people hanging their laundry under those stilts. And I remember asking my mom, why were these people hanging their clothes underneath their homes, their houses? And she shared with me that that was because the houses had to be built on stilts and higher off the ground because they lived in a floodplain. Some of the newer residents in the Vine City English Avenue community may not know that the beautiful Cook Park that is coming, the floodplains did not start in that particular corridor. It was extended far beyond that corridor. And again, I remember it being all the way down to Northside and MLK, Hunter Street and all of that. But I remember becoming very teary about how could they live in such conditions. And as time went on, and again, back to our former mayor, went about his business. and talked about the opportunities that were available in the Atlanta market, and investors and stakeholders from the Midwest and further north came and listened and saw for themselves the opportunities that were available and how they could help change and improve that community. So now you get a chance to realize and benefit from the change and investment that has happened. Just starting from that point, you see what has happened, and now the Congress Center, the beautiful Mercedes-Benz Stadium, all of that corridor has changed completely, and those homes were, although they were done away with, the political figures made certain that there were incentives made available to those those residents who lived in that community and had been affected by the devastation that was going on in that community. And so bringing it fast forward to today, I'm witnessing the change. I'm grateful to be able to witness the change that is happening in that community, because I can tell you, I know from personal experience that it is for the greater good of the community. And what I want to encourage the residents of that community to be your own Nehemiah. You have been sent out into the community to build the walls, and I don't want the concept or the analogy of the wall to represent separation or division. This is the walls that I'm hoping and wanting to encourage the residents of this community to build is wall of sustainability, resiliency, education. I'm so proud of Ebony and folks who have taken advantage of the workforce training opportunities that have been made available in that community. Those are the walls. You're building walls of sustainability and generational wealth that cannot be taken away from you, no matter what happens in this society. Education, knowledge, and action. Action is another wall that I want to encourage you to start building upon, or to continue building upon in that community, because it takes action to really have consistent change in your life. So we all are descendants of Nehemiah in that sense. So I just want to further congratulate the residents on the Westside for seeing the vision, believing the vision, supporting the vision, and allowing stakeholders, such as what has been mentioned already here today, to help you make this transformation. And the last thing I want to say before closing is the word of gentrification, I know, haunts a lot of residents in that community. If gentrification is also a true occurrence that is happening throughout the country, but it doesn't have to be a negative occurrence that happens in your life and my life. I want to see residents take full advantage of these opportunities, so that I can tell you, when we first opened our doors in 2017, by the end of 2017, I think we had over 100 clients in our pipeline. About 25 of those clients raised their hands and said that they want to become homeowners. One of the things that we do with on the rise is help people deal with problem credit, become homeowners, become members of financial institutions and credit unions, trusted financial institutions and credit unions, to learn how to save and build your own personal wealth and financial goals. And so about 25 of those people wanted to become homeowners. And now, of course, everybody wasn't in a position to do that right away. But I can tell you, just in a short period of time, in 3 years of our existence and with our collaborations, 5 of those folks are, no, I'm sorry, 7 of them are now current homeowners. And we still, and now we have approximately 16 that are ready to become homeowners. So we work with Westside Future Fund, the Blank Foundation, and all of, and several other, the Quest Foundation, Community Foundation. We work with a lot of different entities that are really committed to making this dream a reality, just because this is what we're called to do. Do we get a paycheck as a result of the work that we're doing? Of course we do. But I'm here to tell you that I'm certain the majority of the folks that we are working with have a heart for this work. I know Leonard has done this work for free. I know John has done this work for free. My supervisor, Anna Foote. The list goes on. And I promise you all, because of the respect and love that I have for the God that I serve, I would not be in this space if all of the entities involved was not in this for the greater good of us all. So when you hear the naysayers speaking ill of the transformation and revitalization and the gentrification that is going on, I want you to be able to stand up and say, and take that action and say to them, change comes with commitment, and that commitment sometimes is not, it doesn't look familiar to you, so you may think it's negative, but take a look and go back in history and see what has been done. And I'm telling you, all 100 plus clients that we served during that time, and even still today, 95% of them are Westside residents. And every one of them that are on our list to become homeowners are Westside residents. The commitment is there to maintain and retain that legacy. So I'm going to stop right there and offer a prayer and turn the mic over to the next speaker. But I just want to let you know that the work is being done on the West Side is truly, truly transforming only for the benefit of the residents on the West Side of Atlanta. With that, if you would bow your head with me, and I would like to offer a prayer. God, let the words and the event here today go forth in your name to bless and protect and support the work that is being done in this community and abroad, dear Lord. We ask that you come and touch the heart of the developers, the stakeholders, the investors, the residents, even the passerbyers, God. Let them see the work that you have done in this community, so that they know that this can also be possible for them as well, dear Lord. We ask that you continue to teach us and keep us and guide us and give us that spirit of Nehemiah, that no matter what, we will lay down our lives for the greater cause, and we will stand up and take action for a greater cause in our own community, God, so that we will leave a legacy for our children and grandchildren to be proud of. God, let the naysayers know that this is nothing to be ashamed of. This is nothing that we're being tricked of. This is all for the cause that God has laid before us. And God, let everyone who can hear the sound of my voice be blessed and protected throughout these very trying times in this city, in this world, in this civil unrest that we are living through, God. Even though it may look bleak, it may look grim, we may not know who's going to be the chief, commanding chief in office today. And today it really doesn't matter, because you have given us power and control over our own lives and circumstances and situations. And that's enough for us just for this day, Lord. I ask all these blessings in your son's holy name. Amen and amen. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing, Regina. Thank you so much. And appreciate the personal testimonials you put into the devotion, and the story you told about what used to be across the street, I guess, from the Quest Impact Center early in your life, reminded me of the quote I first heard from Ambassador Andy Young, when he said, coincidences are God's way of working anonymously. And the coincidences of, what's being redeveloped from something, that was a very different kind of thing. And on behalf of hopefully, as you noted, you know, to serve. And I take a lot of inspiration, you know, from people like you and other folks on the West Side, because despite what would often seem to many people unjust circumstances, kind of maybe accidents of birth, so to speak, and a lot of suffering, you told some of the stories about suffering, that people like you, you know, and we draw a lot of inspiration from, you know, I do personally Dr. King, still lead with a heart of compassion when sometimes that suffering can turn that heart to bitterness. And so I appreciate, you know, because you're just you know, such an example of compassion, which says you empathize with suffering and want to do something about it. And y'all clearly are doing something. We're real fortunate to have our collaboration with you. So, you know, thank you for speaking from your heart this morning, you know, on the devotion, and we're gonna move on to the rest of our broadcast. So thank you, Regina.
Thank you, Nehemiah.
I don't know about that, but thank you. So if we were back at the, I'm still here with Ebony, and you see we're still practicing our social distancing, and if we're at the gathering spot, you know, one of the things, you know, we reflect on is if you're trying to, you know, build a new community, and often with people that don't know each other, you know, you want everyone to kind of know each other's name and, you know, maybe their affiliation. So if we were at the gathering spot, for those that were watching, we'd always go around, take a time. It was a real special part of the meeting for everyone would stand up and say their name and say where they're from. And again, you know, it's about building community. And so what we want to do now, and if you've been watching us before, you know we love to know who's watching us on our live broadcast. So want to get you ready to do is to type in your name. So whatever live feed you're on, Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or LinkedIn, come up on our live feed, and we're going to turn around, and these great LED boards out at TMPV Studio. All right, and I'm going to ask Ebony. You know, Ebony, you ready to read some, you know, call us some names for us? Do you see some names?
Yes, I see Steve Bishara. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Miss Gloria Dorsey. I like the smiles and the clapping hands. Thank you, thank you. Terry Harrison Hawther, thank you for your words and especially your powerful prayer. We all needed to hear. Amen. That's very true. Karen Russell Rogers, she says, amen. Thank you, Regina. Westside Future Fund.
All right.
Craig Lucy is here.
Well, Craig Lucy is here. Yeah, Craig, we know you're here. Thank you.
Karen Russell Rogers is watching. Thanks, Westside Future Fund. Thank you for being here.
And we love and for those that are watching our live broadcast, you know, we'll be coming into an opportunity for you to ask questions too of our panelists later in the broadcast as well. All right, Dave Stocker, one of our Westside Future Fund board members. Thank you, Dave, for watching us this morning.
Good morning. Keith Palmer Sr., Jackson
All
Morris,
right.
learning a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Great to know people are out there, right?
Yes,
Ebony?
it is. Very good. Yeah, very nice.
All right.
Humane Society, shout out.
Well, we're gonna shift now to our panel discussion. So I want to say thank you for doing this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So you know, y'all could applaud for Ebony. She's going to now exit for our small crew here, but she's done a great job again for us this morning.
Thank you.
Got here early for us.
No problem at all.
And so thank you, Ebony. Now I'm going to begin with our panel. I'm going to ask the Chief Operating Officer of Chris 180 to come on up, Cindy Simpson, and she'll sit, you know, away from me. So for our panelist discussion this morning, and their bios are in our bulletin, but the rest of our panelists, please sit down, Cindy, will be coming in through Zoom. And our panelists, you can see their pictures. You know, Leonard Adams, the leader and founder of Quest Communities, will be coming in through Zoom, and Anna Foote, who is the leader of the On the Rise Financial Center, where Regina serves. And you can see Cindy, and I think we also are going to have, as part of our panel, you know, Camera Trotter as well. We'll round out our panel. So do we want to bring up our panelists, y'all? Make sure they're all there, or? All right. So here we all are. It's kind of amazing, huh? So Leonard is at the Quest Impact Center. So thank you, Leonard, and I think Anna, you and Kim are at home, you know, coming into us live. But before we got into the panel discussion, and you know, I'm going to come last after the panel in terms of questions coming to you. But I think the first thing we want to do to kind of, you know, ground our panel discussion and learn a little bit more at you as well is we have a pre-recorded video we're going to cut to kind of set up our panel discussion. So once we come out of that pre-recorded video that I think our Westside correspondent did, Benjamin Early, we'll come back to our live, socially distant panel discussion. So we can go ahead and cut to that pre-recorded video.
This is Benjamin Gnarly, Westside correspondent with Westside Future Fund, and I'm here today at Quest Communities to speak to manager Ms. Kim Trotter, as well as Westside resident Mr. Dwight Tiller, about the many services that Quest Financial Center is offering to Westside residents. Take a look. Mr. Tiller, how is Quest Communities making a difference in your life?
Oh, they helped me a lot.
What are some of the services that you've gotten to take advantage of from Quest?
Well, when I need something, they will get it for me. Mm-hmm. See, like, if that was up to me, I'd never got nothing out of Quest.
Yeah. So are they contributing to your housing, your living situation? Talk a bit about that.
Well, I'm living good, so, Quest didn't get me there, but they help pay my rent and my insurance.
Okay.
So it's doing good for me.
So what's been the most important thing to you that you've gotten from your experience dealing with Quest Communities?
I just like Quest. I like dealing with them. They okay. They really okay to me. But anybody else, I don't know.
What do you feel is more possible now that you've had this experience working with Quest Communities? What's something that, that you didn't think was within reach before, and then, Quest came into the picture, and now you see new possibilities from working with them?
Well, Quest, I've been in the street. I've been living at the high-rise 28 years. But like I said, they pay my bills on time, so I don't have no against them. They just help me.
And have you met anyone here? You made friends while you've been in the program, or how's that work?
Friends.
Yeah.
All friends.
Yeah.
Ain't no enemy. I don't have no enemy. I try to be nice to everybody. That's how I want them to be nice to me. I recommend people to come here.
So Kim, talk about some of the services that Quest Financial Services offers to Westside residents.
Sure. So Quest Financial Service, we represent and advocate for the unique financial needs of vulnerable members in our community. And so it's our goal to fight against financial exploitation, and it's our goal to help our clients with their money management skills. So our primary service is our organizational representative payee service. That's where we manage the benefit income for individuals who've been diagnosed with a condition that impairs their ability to manage their funds. So usually a close friend or family member would assist the client with managing their funds, but if they don't have a close friend or family member, our service will come in, support them, and help them manage their funds. Our primary goal with that is to ensure housing stability. We are making sure all their bills are paid on time, that their rent and everything is taken care of, and ultimately just create a better quality of life. We also have our veteran fiduciary program that's initiated through the VA, and we assist veterans with managing and budgeting their benefit income as well. Quest Financial Services, we also offer our Social Security startup. That's when we assist individuals with enrolling into the Social Security program. So we'll come alongside them, help them with all the applications, and if they have an appeal, we'll help them with that. That's just for eligible clients.
So what have been some of your biggest takeaways from working with Westside residents?
One of the most impactful things about working at Quest Financial is seeing our clients reach their financial goals. We've had individuals who come to us and they're behind on their bills, behind on their rent, about to be evicted. We'll come in, we'll sit down with them, they trust us, and we come up with a plan. And working with us and working with Quest Financial, they're able to meet their financial goals. A lot of them have savings now. So, it's just refreshing, and it's a good feeling to see your clients come in one way and now their quality of life has improved through, working with Quest Financial Services.
So final question for you. Mm-hmm. How will the new Westside Impact Center that Quest is building currently be able to affect the way that you guys impact residents going forward?
We're really excited about moving to the Impact Center. We're growing exponentially. It gives us visibility and better accessibility to all of our clients on the West Side.
All right, no, thank you. And so I think, I heard the word growing exponentially. So for our panel discussion, I'm going to come to each of y'all and ask you a question. But I thought I'd first start, if you bring them back up on the screen, with, there he is, Leonard Adams. So
yes, I'm here.
We're talking all about the Quest Impact Center. We just heard, you know, growing exponentially. That's impressive, exponential. So first, thank you for doing this, and thank you for your vision, because I know you might share with folks, kind of talk about, you know, what's behind your vision for the Quest Impact Center, because I know it's something you really leaned into and really made it happen. And just share with viewers kind of what you really hope comes out of the Quest Impact Center. And if you,
Thank you, John. Thank you, John, and good morning to everyone. Yes, the Quest Impact Center has been a vision, a strategic goal here at Quest for some time. You all may know that it was called the Quest Nonprofit Center for Change at one point of time. But as we evolved, we wanted to make sure that there was a place that multiple nonprofits could work and deliver services and integrate services collectively for a greater impact, so that we all could identify North Stars that align with all of us, and we could have that impact on the West Side that will ultimately roll up to impacting Atlanta as a whole. And some of those North Stars is affordability around housing, economic inclusion, fresh fruits and vegetables, obviously workforce development, which was the first piece with the Westside Works initiative. So now we're really excited about a one-stop shop, a hub of service integration where residents won't have to try to figure out where do they need to go to get this help. They can come right here to the center. They can get warmed handoff to other services as they engage one service here. And there may be a resident that come and engage one service and leave, but there may be that resident that engages one service, and as we talk and meet with them, they may need other services, and we want to be able to warmly introduce them to another service. So that's what collective impact is. We're looking at to be the champion for collective impact. We have a sense of urgency, which is addressing these North Stars. We're just excited to have the partners on the rise, Quest Financial, Westside Connect, and the Westside Empowerment Center. And rounding that out, we have Westside Growers and our only for-profit company, which is Family Dollar, which we're really hopeful that they're going to be able to create new job opportunities for residents on the West Side. Thank you, John.
Yeah, and just when we can see it right behind you. Tell folks what's right behind you going up.
Well, let me tell you what's right behind me. I'm here sitting in the Westside Impact Center. To my rear, you see an affordable housing apartment community that is tracking about 30 days behind, about 4 months behind the completion of the Impact Center. This was a phased approach to being able to develop a commercial community facility that could stand on its own and have its own identity. But we knew that housing was very important on the West Side. I think Regina talked about the development of new affordable housing. Ebony talked about Quest being a community development corporation that is sometime underground, actually spearheading a lot of the development, and the end user is ultimately the resident or those nonprofits. So this is Quest Commons West. It's 56 units of affordable housing. There will be 20% of those units for persons that are vulnerable. There will be 60% of those units for just affordable families. And then there will be 5 units for market rate at 80% AMI. So we're excited about this new blend, John, because this is our first time in 20 years that we're actually developing affordable housing for families that will have children. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, family with children, and then they'll be able to, you know, walk right over to the Impact Center. They got Westside Works. They're also, you know, if they got young children like Ebony, they're near House Innovation Academy. So I thought maybe talk next, because you mentioned, you know, come to you, Anna, with the On the Rise Financial Center, and love for you to share. You know, you've been working, I know, and you and Regina and your team doing a great job out of the trailers on Boone. So this must be exciting for you. And so tell folks, you know, real quick, you know, if you want to a little bit on the rise, but also, you know, why being in this building is going to be great.
Yeah. We are and have been extraordinarily grateful for the generosity of the Arthur M. Blank Foundation for allowing us the time that we spent in that trailer. It has allowed us to incubate a really fabulous program that has now served over 750 clients for one-on-one financial coaching. Our work to help families become financially stable, get on the road to financial resiliency, build intergenerational wealth through interactions with coaches, access to financial resources through our credit union partners and the Bank On program that we helped incubate. We're excited about the work that we're doing. I personally am thrilled. I came in March of 2018 so that I could sit at the feet of the absolutely amazing Regina Katz, who, by the way, shout out, 1-year wedding anniversary today or this week. Oh, wow. And our opportunity now to expand our services and really build on the base work that we've been doing in collaboration always in the community. We're so excited about moving into the Quest Impact Center. We know it's just going to help us move to the next phase of operation for ourselves and really help launch us into an even bigger operation. So we're thrilled.
So,
of course, we'll be
residents watching, and if they want to avail themselves of your financial services, they'll just be able to, come into the Quest Impact Center there and get hooked right in, right? Is that?
They will be able to. We'll be right next door to Leonard's team, who's also working with their clients, doing very much the same thing we are doing. But we are thrilled to be in a community where everybody is focused on bringing resources and energy and access to a community that is ready for it and is really embracing our work. So we're thrilled. I also have to tell you how excited we are to be working even closer to the hilarious and very committed Leonard Adams. It's a fabulous opportunity.
I think you just, Leonard, I now what I'm going to say whenever I see you, hilarious and committed. That's a good framing.
Yes, it is.
But speaking of energetic, I've got at the studios with me, we're practicing social distancing, one of your other tenants, I guess, so to speak, Cindy Simpson, the Chief Operating Officer of Chris 180. Mm-hmm. And so thank you, Cindy, for coming out here this morning.
Thanks, John, for inviting us.
Yeah, I know how hard you work to be up late and up early, so thank you. Right. But share with viewers, what Chris 180 will be doing at the Impact Center and why it's great for y'all to be there.
Right, so what Leonard and John have both mentioned is the Westside Empowerment Center. Well, the Westside Empowerment Center is a program of Chris 180. And I agree with Anna, really thank the Arthur M. Blank Foundation for the time in the trailers. Part of me almost still misses the trailers. There's something unique about them, and I did like it. But this is really exciting moving into the Quest Impact Center. So we partner with all those partners within the organizations to begin with. We've partnered with Quest for Housing. We've partnered with Westside Future Funds for Housing.
Right.
And I just thought I'd mention both Leonard and John. We still need more housing, so keep working on that part.
Right.
Okay?
Well, we're committed.
Okay, good. I want you to keep going on that. So, but what we'll be doing over at the Quest Impact Center is we'll provide behavioral health, because that's one of our specialties. We're also providing community health workers will be out of that office. Right. So some primary health needs. The other thing we've been doing is, and you mentioned it earlier, is the Westside Connect line, right, which is really, some people refer to the helpline. So that will also be there.
So that's where it's staffed.
That's where it's staffed. What's really unique, and I have to give Leonard you some credit, and also with Westside Future Funds, is that what's happened on the West Side is the nonprofits partnering. That doesn't always happen. Lots of times nonprofits, they begin to kind of compete.
Yeah, because we're all out there trying to raise funds. It can get a little competitive.
Right, it gets a little competitive. So if you look back in the 70s and 80s, you had government agencies or government funding to really have, and it wasn't nonprofits, it was government agencies, to make this kind of impact center or this one-stop shop, okay? That's gone away from government agencies doing that. So this is very unique. Historically, for nonprofits to work together and work in one location is really unique and really visionary. So this is exciting to be a part of that. We're continuing to do the behavioral health. One thing that you'll see more of at the new center is more groups. Domestic violence is on the rise.
Right.
And so we'll be having domestic violence groups there.
Yeah,
in the evenings.
unfortunately. And one thing, and real quickly, because I know you and I talk a lot about this.
Yep.
But talk, in terms of Quest service, but especially around, because a lot of folks that are suffering qualify as having experienced trauma.
Exactly.
And tell folks what that means.
Yeah, so people have, a lot of us have experienced trauma in this year of pandemic. But you've got an incident or something that's happened to you that's been traumatic, so but that trauma is recoverable. So that's what our therapists work on. Sometimes it's even generational trauma, and the Westside has a lot of that, where it's a generational trauma that's been passed on.
And we know that there's, the people in poverty overwhelmingly correlate with trauma.
Overwhelmingly. And that's what we've seen, that, besides the economic problems, you've got homelessness going on, food scarcity.
Right.
So all of that adds up, and that stress is traumatic. And so through behavioral health, through helping with filling other gaps, that's how we're addressing the problem. The other thing that's happening soon is there'll be 2 trauma response network trainings for residents.
Right.
We want residents to learn to help each other.
Yeah, because often, too, what I don't think about people always appreciate, with Westside Works right there to do job training, but that same person may need to kind of recover from trauma to effectively participate, right?
Exactly, and that's why it's really a plus to be in the same building.
Right.
Because we can just walk next door and help each other.
Yeah.
And we do have a therapist on call 24/7 on the Westside.
Well, great.
Yes.
No, and so I thought I'd next go, and then we'll go to another one of our pre-recorded videos. But Kim, come back to you, and thanks for participating this morning. I love the clock behind you. Looks like like a nice looking clock.
Thank you.
But as one who's interacting directly, obviously, with the heart of service, how do you think the Quest Impact Center will kind of impact your work in serving the residents?
Sure. Well, thank you first for the opportunity to be a part of this panel. Some really great people on here, including our CEO, Mr. Adams. The Impact Center, I believe, as I stated in the video, gives us so much more accessibility to our clients. It also provides us an opportunity to have just a collective service delivery. A lot of our clients are vulnerable. They're from the vulnerable population, and just to be able to connect them with other services with similar goals, I think would be very beneficial.
All right, and then and you mentioned vulnerable. One thing, and now that I live over in Vine City, that is amazing to me, because it didn't happen when I lived in the city of Decatur, is the amount of mail I get promising to help me financially. But I know enough about it to know that it's really to help someone make a whole bunch of money, so to speak. So talk about the vulnerability that you're serving with your financial services, because there's so much kind of predatory practices I see now on the West Side.
Sure. So the majority of our programs stem from other administrations, like Social Security Administration or Veterans Administration. There's people that receive benefit income, and the reason they're receiving the benefit income is due to a diagnosis, whether that be cognitive or any kind of disability. And because of that disability, it impairs their ability to manage their own finances. So it puts them in a really vulnerable state. Like I stated in the video, a lot of our clients we've seen, they've had financial exploitation from even their own family members, And so because they're unbanked, they're just in a really vulnerable spot. Our services do come in, they provide them with money management skills. We're able to ensure that their funds are being allocated to where they have a better quality of life. We're making sure they have financial stability. We're making sure their rent is paid on time every month. We're making sure they even have savings for the little things that they want. So, that's kind of a little overview of our services.
If someone's watching and they know someone in their family or a friend that wants to maybe avail themselves of your service, is that something people can reach out to you, and if they're receiving benefits, you help them administer it in a fiduciary manner?
Absolutely. Even if they do have a willing family member, oftentimes clients want to have a little bit of independence from their family. And so we're there for that person as well.
Right.
They are always welcome to reach out. You can see how to get in contact with us on our website, which is questcommunities.org. We're always there. We are answering the phone pretty much 24/7. So yes, we welcome anyone to call with any questions.
And thank you. And so we want to now, panelists, we're going to come back to you. We're going to go to another pre-recorded video served by the Westside Empowerment Center, and it's a video about LaDonna Jackson. So I think one of our other Westside correspondents, Craig Lucy, did this one. So if we could, we're going to do another pre-recorded video. It's a little over 5 minutes, and we're going to come back to our live panel. So let's go next to that next video.
Hey, Craig Lucy here, and right now we are off of Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard at the Westside Empowerment Center, which, as you can see from the sign, is run by Chris 180. Now, originally I was going to sit down with a Miss LaDonna Jackson, and she was going to tell me how Chris 180 literally saved her life. But while I was inside the building, I actually met her first case manager, and I thought, why don't we have her first case manager interview Miss Jackson, and they can share this incredible relationship that they have together and how Chris 180 really saved her life. Take a look.
Hi everyone, I'm Tamika Askew, and I'm sitting here with Miss LaDonna Jackson, and I actually was her first housing stability case manager. As a matter of fact, Miss Jackson, let's go back to that. What brought you to actually Chris 180?
I was going through the trauma that I was going through, which is domestic violence and homelessness for 10 years. So I knew with me trying to commit suicide and depression, the safe house I was in, they had Chris 180 in there, and they really helped me a lot to get through the turmoil that I was going through, and because I blamed a lot of that on myself. So they helped me with that just as well as you did. This is my first job, and I've been on my job for 2 years. My son attended at Promise Center for school. My 29-year-old attended Chris 180 for therapy. My whole life is based around Chris 180.
How did you feel when we placed you in your 4-bedroom house?
First of all, it felt too good to be true. I went through so many programs and been let down or placed somewhere that's not livable, sustainable. And so I was coming from a place where I didn't trust anyone. And it was almost too good to be true, because for one, I never had a house. And I felt truly blessed. I felt free. I felt free because I don't have anyone telling me I have to do this or beating me. So I felt free. And it's at times now where I still be in there and I feel like I get overwhelmed. So I have to stop what I'm doing and take a deep breath and say, this is mine. This is me and my babies. It was on Tuesday at 9:49 at night. And my angel, who God brought to me, Miss Cindy Simpson, I got a call to say I have a job and I have a house, a 4-bedroom house, 4-bath for me and my children. My whole life, no one gave me a chance
But Miss Cindy, she gave me a chance, and she knew I was struggling with reading. She knew all of that, and she gave me a chance. She told me I was hired, and when they told me I could work for 30 days, she came in and told me I'm hired for good. And I owe her, and I thank God for her so much, because she gave me and my children a chance. I'll never forget it.
So with all that to say and all the services you actually received from Chris 180, what could you tell people about Chris 180, the Westside Empowerment Center that sits right in the center of 30314 and 30318? What advice would you actually have?
I would tell them, as I do every day, answering the phones, and I get calls from people from all walks of life. And my advice to them is nothing beats a fail but a try. Give it a try, and you can't go wrong. But always pray first. And everything I know for me, everything I got, everything that I needed help in, I got it through Chris 180. So I would tell them to go, no matter what type of help you're seeking, go to Chris 180, because they cover all bases. I'm still in therapy. I still receive services. I'm a client and I work for Chris 180, so you can't go wrong. You can't.
Wow. Well, I got the angel here. That's pretty powerful.
Well, Miss Jackson is amazing. And I think part of Chris 180, but part of the whole Westside Empowerment and part of the Quest Impact Center, it's around people like Miss Jackson. And we're working together. And I think the important thing as we move forward, it was important for us to hire somebody that was a resident and had some of their own experience. Because actually, Miss Jackson is the one who answers the Westside Connect helpline.
So she can do it from a place of authentic connection.
She's very sympathetic, she's authentic, and I'll tell you what, she is answering that helpline at 9 o'clock at night and on Sundays. Wow. And responding, because she's that committed to helping others. And that's kind of what we're all about, especially within our partnership. How do we continue to help each other and we all learn to pay it forward?
Yeah, no, that was a powerful piece. And I was kind of reflecting, because one of the things we heard in the first pre-recorded interview we heard from her was this issue of building trust. And Leonard, you and I talk you know, a lot about this. You know, how people build trust. And so, you know, you think about the Quest Impact Center and kind of all the, you know, the journey along the way, you know, maybe reflect a little bit about how you think the Quest Impact Center with the various not-for-profits, do you think that'll help us build trust with the community, or what's your reflection on that?
Yes, thank you, John. And what a powerful video that was from the young lady with Chris 180. I just want to say, John, yes, I believe the Quest Impact Center would give a visual that residents can trust us. And why could they trust us? Is because we're trusting of ourselves with each other. As Cindy stated, nonprofits traditionally didn't align in one building because most of us were going after the same dollars. But even the same dollars are now asking, are you working with someone? Are you partnering? And the Westside Future Fund was very instrumental on being a place-based initiative of financing different initiatives that made us almost align ourselves. I wanted to just say, John, it's amazing to me when you're building trust, you have to be respectful, you have to say and do what you said you're going to do. And we feel that the nonprofits that we have been engaged with for over 20 years with some of them, Quest has always done what we said we were going to do. Ebony opened up with, and I've never heard anyone say this, she was at Westside Works, but she knew as a resident that Quest had a role as a community development corp of building and owning and managing that building. The trailers that the nonprofits were in. The Blank Foundation helped fund that, but that was an initiative that Quest and the church, Simpson Street Church of Christ, brought together years and years ago and have used those trailers to incubate multiple nonprofits. Properties that the young lady is staying at, that Chris 180 has in their portfolio. Some of those houses are houses that Quest have built or have renovated. And last but not least, some of the properties that our partnership with Westside Future Fund has allowed us to partner on different land and bring that back for the people. So the people are seeing that us as nonprofits, we're trusting of one another, we're doing what we're saying we're going to do, and we're having the impact. So yes, the Impact Center should speak volume around trust.
Yeah, no, thank you, Leonard. One of the things I reflect on, and Anna, I'm going to come to you with my next question. We'll get another pre-recorded video. But as a place-based initiative, there's no one not-for-profit or government agency that does it all, right? I mean, that does everything you would need. And I often think about the journey for people wanting to build better lives, like ladder rungs. And the different services that we're collectively doing are different rungs on the ladder. But, can you imagine trying to climb a ladder where the rungs were in all different places? Well, that wouldn't be much of a ladder, would it? Wouldn't work at all. So part of the place-based part of the work is that these different things are all within, walkability or approximate. So all the things people need to build themselves better lives in their community, that often, when you especially have a community that's underserved and under-resourced, means other resources need to come in. The challenge often that can be people are not trusting that outside resource. But one of the key things, right, Anna, I'm teeing this up, is home ownership. And you mentioned earlier, but one of the things we are doing, and given where land costs are, there's no way to deliver home ownership for a lot of people that qualify for mortgage without some subsidy, in terms of down payment assistance. But talk about how the On the Rise Financial Center is going to help people build a home ownership.
Thank you. Like you said, every one of us are a strong thread, and together we weave a tapestry that's beautiful and strong and able to support the community. And one of the roles that On the Rise plays is helping in building intergenerational wealth, which lifts all the family for multiple generations. If we can help the current family find stability and find a way of raising capital for themselves and then holding on to that, right? So On the Rise, I think Regina mentioned this in her conversation this morning, that some of the very earliest work we did was identifying families that could find themselves on a path to improving their credit, building some deposits so they could build some funds to put on a down payment for a home, stabilize their income so that they could keep that home, they'd be resilient and be able to keep that home. And Regina and her team were able to put together a pipeline of residents. And I'm so pleased and honored to be able to report that the very first homes that were out of the ground through the work of Westside Future Fund, right around the Chris 180 Center, those first homes out of the ground are now occupied and owned by On the Rise clients who'd been working with us for months and who were able to buy, in some cases, this was the first home they'd ever owned. It was the first home their families had ever owned. And we helped them find low cost, low barrier mortgage options that allowed for the stack of multiple down payment assistance. And between those families, our group was able to help them find about $200,000 in down payment assistance. That made it affordable for them to get into and affordable for them to be able to stay in. And these are families, oftentimes they came out of Westside Works workforce development training program, and so we knew they had stable income. So these are examples, and we have more. We've got many more examples of people who are ready to start building that foundation that will hold their families and build for future generations. And that's very exciting for us.
No, thank you. It's exciting for us, and especially because it delivers on racial equity. And,
yes.
and we know that the research is unequivocal that a lot of the white middle class in America, benefit in ways that unfortunately blacks were purposefully denied. And so the home ownership is one way we can really address racial equity. And one of the things that's great now being down on the west side is with more and more jobs coming to downtown and midtown, land costs are going up, but that's why, and we're pleased to be a part of it, helping have philanthropy along with government assistance be a part of that down payment assistance, because a lot of the homes are getting expensive, not because the bill costs are going way up, the land costs are going to go up because people want to be near, growing job centers. So y'all, it was great for us to participate, and we're looking to do more of it through Home on the West Side. But we're now going to come back to do another pre-recorded video to hear a little bit about Tunica Allen that Benjamin did, and then we're going to come back to our live panelists, and we're also going to be ready to take some questions from our online audience if you're ready to do that. But let's cut to that next video, and then we'll come back to our panel.
This is Benjamin Early, Westside correspondent with Westside Future Fund. I'm here at the Home on the Westside home office with Ms. Takema Allen, a recent participant of On the Rise Financial Center. So Takema, tell me, what main goal has On the Rise Financial Center helped you accomplish, or is helping you to accomplish right now?
Well, it helped me accomplish sticking to my goal to go into home ownership. That was something that I had been wanting to do for a while. I had been through the process before, and it just didn't work in my favor. So it really allowed me to get back on track and just maintain that.
Gotcha. So which of On the Rise's financial services has proven to be most impactful on your financial life?
Budgeting and credit repair. I did a lot of the stuff myself. I had like certain letters. I bought like one of those DIY credit repair kits myself. So I had had that for a while and I had used it, but just being able to stick to it, stay on top of it, going through my bank statements, analyzing what I'm overspending on, things that I could eliminate, that I could still live without. It did help a lot with that, because it was things that I didn't even need that I was having or paying for, like Netflix and things like that. So I did a lot of cutting back with that, and that really did help.
So talk a bit about what's the difference between how you view finances now versus before you started with On the Rise.
So before I started, it was always, I spend it, I'll make it right back. Not a problem. Or I'll go do some odds and ends job to make it back. But now I look at it like every dollar counts, every penny counts down to the T. Like, you don't understand how a $2 coffee from Dunkin' Donuts would just make a big impact on what you're trying to do and what goals you're trying to obtain when saving your money. So that helped tremendously, because I'm a Dunkin' Donuts person. So it was like every morning I was going to buy coffee. Now I make coffee at home. I saved a lot of money doing that.
Last question for you. What possibilities do you feel exist for you now that didn't necessarily exist prior to working with On the Rise?
Well, I've always been the type of person, whatever I wanted, I went and got it. I worked hard to get whatever I wanted. And with this, it did make me realize how more of my potential and things that I could do. The possibilities were always endless. I just had to try to obtain those. Like even with like me purchasing a home, this was my first time trying to purchase a home. This was my second time. My first time, I actually made it 3 days before my closing, and the people decided not to sell their home, and it kind of stopped me from wanting to purchase a home. And I was just like, you know what, I just rent, it's okay. But then I just had tragic situation happened in my family, and it really made me look at, like, if I leave today, I don't want my kids to rent anybody's anything. I want them to be able to be stable and be in a stable environment. So it definitely opened up a lot of opportunities just everywhere, all the way around for me.
So Takima Allen, Eastside native but Westside affiliated. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'll make sure that everybody I know about this program and give them the opportunity to try to go through it and help them in whatever financial situations they have that can assist them.
All right, Benjamin, and for those, for that great video, and for those that are watching, we're about to go to questions, but for viewers that aren't as familiar with it, you know, the Westside Future Fund's Home on the Westside program, and thanks to a lot of support from Atlanta's leading corporations and others, we've been able to, you know, go out there and, you know, and buy a lot of single-family lots, multifamily, and through Home on the Westside, we prioritize people who have lived in the community. We prioritize people who graduated to the Booker T. Washington High School cluster. We prioritize folks who have graduated from one of the Atlanta University schools. So as our housing is coming online, those community retention guidelines adopted by our board of directors really ensure that those, you know, from the community who have been connected to the community historically are first in line, so to speak, through our Home on the Westside. And it does offer, in order to deliver high quality, safe, you know, affordable housing, you know, a lot of subsidy. To deliver on that. But now I'm going to help, to help with the Q&A. Actually, a professional person in terms of live broadcasting, Craig Lucy from Formula of W. Because whenever you come on stage, I'm reminded that I'm just making it up, and you're actually a professional. But if you have we're ready now to take some questions, and you're going to help us with that.
Yes, good morning to you. Good morning, Cindy. And I got to tell you, when I was witnessing that interview with Miss LaDonna Jackson and Tamika, I'm so fortunate to have met you, because I'm like, we have an angel in our presence right here.
I know, an angel.
Thank you. It was such a beautiful interview, and thank you for all the work that you're doing over here on the West Side.
Well, this is great. She's an amazing person.
She really is.
And she is
turned her life around.
And she's a really good example of how you recover from trauma.
Yes.
Yes, she's still working on it, but I'll tell you what, you should, you know, and I want to remind people, call, if you need help, call Miss Jackson on the Westside Connect helpline. It's 404-430-8180. You'll get to talk to Miss Jackson directly.
She is a hard worker. I witnessed it.
She's amazing.
So speaking of social media, right here on our LED board, let's pull it up right here so we can see.
Questions.
We have some questions. And Mark Hayes says, so many inspiring stories on the West Side. As you can see, Gloria Dorsey loved that characterization of Cindy. And back to Mark Hayes, AKA West Side is the best side. Sir Liz Powell says, yes, ma'am, I'm hoping to inspire other residents. And right here on my phone, also, Mark Hayes said that prayer works, and there are angels at Chris 180, as we mentioned, Quest, Westside Future Fund, and basically all around the West Side. And Lisa Gilliard Whitaker says, we impact each other by telling our stories. And that's what we're doing here on the first and third Friday of every month. It's basically through the power of storytelling, we can really lift up the West Side, shine a light on all the nonprofits. I want to jump into the questions. Waikisha Howe asks, what is being done to pull residents who have been gentrified from the West Side back so that they can reap the benefits of all of the new development? And also, it kind of looks negative when people are forced out of their homes, their schools, and out of their communities. So basically, anyone can take that. Who do you think should take that, John?
Well, maybe I'll go first, and then Leonard, I'll let you go to you next. But to Waikisha's question, in terms of the West Side Future Fund, through our community retention guidelines, they prioritize people that have been from the community. So if you've lived in the neighborhoods but are no longer there, you would, in our Virginia guidelines, would kind of move you up on our list, because we actually do have a wait list, so we prioritize based on those guidelines. So, and also if you went to school in the Booker T. Washington cluster but no longer live in the neighborhood, want to come back, would be another way. Or if you graduate, so that's one way we kind of repatriate, so to speak, is through that. And Leonard, do you want to offer some reflections on that?
Yes, John. Thank you for the time to reflect. The viewers are right on point. She's the only other person that I've ever heard say, how are you going to attract lower income people back to a gentrified area? I am so glad that this young lady said that. Here at Quest, we're developing affordable housing. One thing about the West Side is that it had been depopulated. So we have to repopulate the West Side. And that means we have to have people move back on the West Side. And we don't want all middle class and up. We need some lower income families to give a true balance of community. So our affordable housing AMI levels from 30% up to 80%, it's an attraction for those individuals who are lower income, and it's not all market rate units going up. So thank you for asking that question, because you're exactly right. We have to bring back persons and families that make lower than the 100% of the area median income, John.
Yeah, and to that point, and Ebony was a great example of that, is now's the time we want to come back, because most people who are making a lower wage, like all of us, want a what? Higher wage, you know, and maybe a better paying job. And so now is the time, right? Because with so many jobs coming to downtown and midtown, you heard Ebony even say that, because it's not that people want to, quote, stay low wage, right? But now is the time to come back to the West Side because of all the economic opportunity. Would you kind of, agree with that? I mean, that's because the goal is not, hey, someone stay permanently low wage.
Right, you're totally right. Low income people want to become high income individuals. But we know in this structure of this world that we live in, there are people that are always going to be lower income, and someone has to make sure that there's an opportunity for them to live in communities of choice. We have to be intentional about that, because the history has always told us that there are going to be low income individuals and families that don't become high earners. So we can't just develop for that potential person. We got to say, you know what? There's a group of vulnerable populations, as all of us have talked about, that may stay in a certain income bracket, and we need to develop intentional properties for them. And if they grow, then great. But if they don't grow, then we're going to put things around them to make them maximize their situation.
Yeah, and we know, right, all the research says that the best thing for them is to be exactly that kind of community. I think what you're saying is we don't want a community where people say we don't want you anymore. That part of it, is back, back to that compassion. Well,
the beloved community, John. The beloved community, John.
That's right.
That's right.
John and Leonard, this is Anna. I think the other thing that I'm hearing from people who are coming back is that part of the reason they left was for a lack of access to really important resources that they needed to have. They didn't have banking resources. They didn't have fresh food. They didn't have access to affordable housing. And what's happening is we're getting it back in this community, and it's becoming a more viable option for people to come back. And so it's building community. It's building a robust, healthy, diverse community that has the resources in it that we need, that everybody needs, no matter what your income level is. And we're seeing that happening now. And so people are looking back at the West Side again and saying, now we're coming back to what the West Side had decades ago, that sense of community, that love, but also access to resources that are vital for anybody who wants to live and work and thrive in their community.
And John, I think what we're doing is building a safe and resilient community. But this partnership at Quest Impact Center is the model. So we're modeling for the residents. We can all work together, and that's what this is all about. And that's what builds a safe community, and including working together is the diversity of the community.
Right. So kind of model what we want to.
We're modeling what we want it to go.
Well, do we have
We do, actually, and our panelists you guys hit it dead on, and that's what we're doing right now, is explaining to everybody who wants to come back to the West Side, look, this is all the work that's happening. Like, come back here in this wonderful, beloved community. I'm going to jump in here. Sir Liz Powell just chimed in and said, Regina and her team at On the Rise Financial Center have changed my life. I am an 11-year West Side resident who was able to raise my credit from 525 to now 730, thanks to my coach, Miss Beverly. Great stuff right there. Virginia Hepner says we need more organizations like Quest all across the state. Now I want to jump to a question from Sherry Belil, who is
a parent avenger.
A parent avenger, and she has always been here for our virtual summits.
She always is. Yeah, thank you, Sherry.
I know, thank you so much. Along with Valerie Williams. Valerie, I'm looking at you.
Oh, and Valerie, I'm going to be in trouble with Valerie because I want to go ahead and apologize to Valerie because she wanted me to show something on the show today that I didn't, so I'll show it next show.
All right, we'll do that for you, Valerie. All right, so Sherry Belil asks, how are these programs shifting to the times of COVID for parents to be able to benefit from these services? Lots of us are working less hours or not working at all. So are there guides in line to support and actually help parents flourish over here on the West Side?
So maybe we'll let each of y'all, can you represent different services, take how you're, because basically how you're serving in time of COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cindy?
Yeah, and basically, to be honest, Westside Empowerment Center and at Promise, we haven't closed. So we're continuing to serve. We're doing it via phone. We're doing it via telehealth. And with safety precautions, with masks and the 6 feet, we're meeting people face to face. So we have actually about 78 clients that come into the Westside Empowerment Center every week. Also continuing to do housing. In the last 3 months, we've housed probably, with our partnerships with Quest and Westside Future Funds, because we don't own the homes. So we've, housed 53 different families.
Gotcha. Anybody else also on the panel want to chime in on that one?
Leonard, you want to go first, or?
Yes, sure, John. Yes, and this COVID has really made us really look at how we deliver the services that we have. We are currently working in a remote setting, teleworking for staggered shifts. But as you can see here at the Westside Impact Center, the Quest Commons West, we still have hired construction professionals out trying to make sure that this housing is completed, because during COVID, we were all asked to shelter in place. So we know that the demand of housing has turned into your hospital, it's turned into your schoolhouse, it's turned into your place of employment. It is everything that you once used to go to. Your home has become that. So it's very important for us to continue to push. We are experiencing some delays, John, but we are being safe. We have PPEs, our partnership here, we have signage up, and we're hoping that residents can still engage us through technology, but we do understand that some residents are not having that technology. So we do have a staggered shift that will be here on site to field any of those walk-ins.
All right, well, Anna, you want to talk about?
Yeah, very quickly on the rise, staff was able to pivot into providing all of our coaching by phone, through Zoom, whatever method was most comfortable for our clients. We immediately made outbound telephone calls to about 400 of our clients in April and May, just to find out how they were doing, what resources they needed, were they going to get their relief checks, answer any questions about how to file for unemployment. So we made sure that we were very ready and accessible to our clients to help them in the early stages of the pandemic, and now are here as the longer term economic impact is going to hit, the reality of so many families being out of work. But we are 100% accessible by phone, by Zoom. We're also grateful to our partners at Construction Ready, at Westside Works, and at Perscalis. They continue to let us zoom into their cohorts and provide financial education and recruit for one-on-one financial coaching from their programs. So we haven't skipped a beat. And when we move into that fabulous Quest Impact Center, Regina and her team will be putting together a protocol that will ensure our client safety and our coaches and team safety. If people want to come back in and see a coach, we'll make that possible for them in the long run. But right now, you just pick up the telephone and call us. We are here for you.
Awesome. And I know, Kim, you have any on that, how you're serving during COVID for viewers?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that it's ironic in this time. We came from a service model of open door policy, come in whenever, we're always here. And very quickly we had to shift that. But I do find we are more connected with our clients. We know their needs a little bit better because they're communicating almost more often, similar to what Anna was stating. A lot of our work now is through teleworking, appointment only, phone. But in a way, we do feel like we're more connected. We feel like we know our clients' needs more because we're reaching out more because they're not able to come in. So,
and we may And thank y'all for that answer. And I don't know if we may have time for one more question before we go to our...
Sure. Well, B.L. Peters has been chiming in a lot this morning, so thank you. He says, we shared a space with Chris 180 for some time. Being close was always a benefit to community members. Because of our great relationship, the warm handoffs took place almost on a daily basis. I'm excited that we will continue to be neighbors. And then Waikisha Howell asks, does all the help with the does help come with a financial coach, or do you all use funds to help pay their bills for them?
So Anna, did you hear that question from Waikisha?
Yes, I did. First, no client who walks in the door is ever charged for the services. We have fabulous philanthropic and corporate support that allows for us to provide this service free of charge. Second, we don't have financial resources to help pay for bills, but we are going to help you get on a path to figuring out how to first think about how you're already spending your money. You heard Ms. Tamika say at $2 a day paying for coffee, she figured out that she could save a lot of money just by making some changes to her own budgeting. And so self-awareness, improving your credit status, there's a lot of ways for us to help you find money that you might not have thought you had. So come talk to a coach. Let's have a conversation about what resources are out there for you and what you can be doing for yourself. There's always a way.
And I also know too, Anna, y'all have paid special attention. If people are behind on their bills due to unemployment due to COVID, you kind of, and I know Cindy, you can too, connect people who can't pay their bills maybe because of that, right?
That's right. So we have developed an information resource and referral aspect of our work that connects us with partners all across the city of Atlanta who do have access to resources. So if you're in an urgent situation, we're also going to help you identify what resources are available to you.
And do you want to say something about that too, Cindy?
Yeah, I mean, basically what we're doing, we have a large group and we're partnering with United Way in the city of Atlanta. So if you live in the city of Atlanta, again, call that helpline number, call the Westside Connect, no matter where you live in Atlanta, and they'll connect you with emergency assistance, which is rent, mortgage, and utility payments.
All right.
Hey, John?
Yes, sir, Leonard.
Hey, real quickly, John, just wanted the viewer that was asking that to have a clear understanding that the bills that we pay at Quest Financial Services, we're actually using the income that the beneficiary receives, and we're paying because they are deemed unfit to manage their money, we're managing their money. So we're not using our money to pay their bills. But I did want to say we do have a rental assistance program that we have secured money to help with rental assistance due to COVID. And we have been paying landlords on behalf of those who qualified for the rental assistance.
Yep. So help us out there. So thank you, Craig Lucy, for helping with my questions.
And I want to mention, if we did not get to your question online on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, we'll certainly get an answer for you later on today.
So we'll circle back, and so thank you as always.
Back at you.
And
thank you. And thank you to our incredible panel and our crew who helped pull all of this off.
Yeah. And we're still, and in our final moments to our panelists, and maybe I'm going to ask each of y'all, we got about 6 minutes left in our broadcast, so maybe around a minute each, is to kind of give a final reflection. And as you reflect about the broadcast, what we talked about, the Quest Impact Center, especially what you want for those that are watching, and a lot of folks actually watch this later, kind of reflect on, what you really want people to know in kind of your final remarks. So maybe because I came last to you last time, and Leonard, I'll come last to you since you're the Quest Impact, host, so to speak. But maybe I'll start with you, with, kind of any kind of closing reflections.
She's on mute.
Your mic, Gary.
There you go.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Thanks. What stuck out to me the most is your analogy with the ladder. The Impact Center really, I feel, provides the collective service delivery that, can change lives. And so I'm just really happy to be a part of it, looking forward to the growth, and, looking forward to being neighbors with some of you all.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Will Cindy some closing reflections for us?
Yeah, I think what really interests me is that You know, if I look at historically, and I look at us as partners working together, you know, maybe we haven't done a great job in the past, but this is our opportunity to be role models for that younger generation. And we really need that nowadays with everything that's going on. We need ourselves to work together as a team and role model for the younger generation how that works and how it helps everybody.
I know, thank you. And thank you for being our angel this morning, being out here. Well, Anna, some final reflections from you?
Every day, the team at On the Rise is inspired by the clients who have come in and worked with their coaches. Lives are changed in ways that give us incredible energy and affirmation for really hard work that they spend a lot of hours and a lot of their energy and commitment doing. We are inspired by the partnerships that we have, Leonard and Cindy among them, who inspire me personally every day through some pretty tough times that we're all having. The proof that community, how important community is how we are locking arms together and holding each other up. And we are On the Rise. We are grateful to be a part of that community.
All right, thank you so much. And our committed and hilarious Leonard Adams, some closing reflections.
Final words or closing reflection, John, is that the Impact Center is a collective model, and it's just as simple as the word collective. We are partners in this. We are thriving to have a best-in-class model that we could actually pick this recipe up and place it in other underserved communities. This model is for challenging communities. This is not a model for a thriving high-end community. That community doesn't need this. We want to go where we could pick this up and also bring a group like the Westside Future Fund. The collective impact model only works if you have a sense of urgency, that you have champions or influential partners, and you have to have someone that's willing to finance this. This work takes money and it takes time, and it's not done overnight. So we want people to know change doesn't happen overnight. So change in your life is not, you're not just going to walk in On the Rise and the first day you're going to have an 800 credit score, you're going to own a home and get you a $100,000 job. But if you work at it, you can be there. So this is 20 years for us, John, and we're looking forward to the next 20.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, and thanks to all of y'all this morning. Kind of cool to come in via Zoom. So thank you for waking up early and coming in with your connections, and it's fun to watch it get brighter and brighter than Leonard at your window there. So the sky's getting bluer and bluer. Yeah. And on the collective impact model, we got a lot of, and we're very blessed to have a lot of funders. I know a big funder of the On the Rise Financial Center is Equifax, and offered a lot of leadership, you know, there. And a lot of Atlanta's, corporations are behind this collective impact model, along with Atlanta's, independent foundations and a lot of others as well. So thank you, donors, because Leonard said,
yes.
We need that generosity to help, provide the fuel for the work, so to speak. And one of them, and now we're going to announce our Home Depot Foundation gift card winner. I've been texted the name that has been picked, and the winner is, and hopefully he's still watching, Sam Young. So Sam Young is the winner, and thank you, Sam. And we'll be emailing you your Home Depot gift card. And so as final reflections, and I was just thinking, because what folks all want to say is do collective impact. Like I hear that, but it's hard because it requires you to, cooperate.
Right.
And sometimes cooperate in ways you might not be your first instinct to cooperate. And
Yep.
so I appreciate about that, all of y'all, and kind of back to, kind of leading with the heart of compassion, because I think a lot, and I get excited about, but looking to the future and thinking about a new Westside future, and a new Westside future that's grounded in economic mobility, that's grounded in racial equity, and it's grounded, Lynn, like you said, is having a heart to helping people, maybe stay in their community, but also helping lift up people in their community and help build that new Westside future. And so for our next Transform Westside Summit live broadcast, one of the things we want to do is really, hear from viewers who've been watching us think about, what should we continue to be doing, what people want to hear from us. We want to facilitate more of an input session. Remember when you did that before, Leonard? Thought it'd be a good time for us to kind of check in with viewers, because it looks like we'll be doing this for a bit longer. But as we think about that new Westside future, I want to ask folks that are watching, to get engaged with us if you're not already engaged in that new Westside future. Any of these not-for-profits can use your financial support you heard from today. So as part of that Westside future, go to any of their websites if you want to offer financial contribution, and hopefully you'll see it'll be put to extraordinary use. We're always out there raising money for our Home on the Westside program to put people into high-quality, affordable homes. So help us build a new Westside future with your engagement. You can help us, obviously, financially. All of our organizations offer volunteer opportunities, so you can plug into that. And if you like this, share the work that we're doing by sharing it with others and helping us build that new Westside future, because by us kind of joining together, and that's kind of a lot back to our first devotion this morning, our devotion speaker, about the lesson of how we join hands through that collective impact model, to build that ladder of economic mobility. So thank you for joining us this morning, and we're going to close out with the video and hope to see you back in just 2 weeks. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.